Bill Maher called out CNN's Kaitlan Collins on the network's bias. Let's watch.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter.
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And
I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. It does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. What she's kind of saying is, I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like, I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump did.
But here's where things get interesting. Maher, who has always had a finger on the pulse of both sides, wasn't having it. He saw through CNN's spin and their obsession with controlling the narrative. He wasn't just talking about their coverage. He was calling out the hypocrisy. CNN was practically gushing over a recent political speech, hyping it as if it were some legendary moment in history. Maher, he wasn't buying it. Sure, the speech was fine, but the way CNN carried on, you'd think they had just witnessed history in the making. It was laughable. And here's where things took a sharp turn. Maher compared CNN's behavior to The View. That's right. He said it was worse than Trump outright calling the media the enemy of the people. Why? Because instead of fighting back, CNN was acting like they didn't need anyone who questioned them. That kind of dismissal? It's dangerous. Maher made it clear. Ignoring the press is sometimes worse than attacking them. And yet, despite Maher's takedown, Collins didn't slow down. Nope. She doubled down, continuing her attacks on Caroline Leavitt, Trump, and even Elon Musk. But Maher, he wasn't done with her. Oh no, his next move, even more devastating. And lucky for you, we've got all the receipts. Let's talk about what set CNN off in the first place. During a high-stakes CNN interview, Trump was asked whether he would continue funding Ukraine if he were elected. His response?
Would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. It'll be absolutely
over. Do you
over.
want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement
let me
that
just
you just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
Then came the next ambush. Collins turned the focus to Trump's handling of classified documents, demanding to know why he held on to them despite a subpoena. But instead of a straight question, she rambled, throwing in commentary, trying to twist the moment into a gotcha trap. Trump, clearly annoyed, fired back.
Why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them?
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
the
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
But she wasn't finished. This time, she went after Trump Jr., right after the assassination attempt on his father. Can you believe that? The timing couldn't have been worse. And yet, CNN had zero shame. Trump Jr. hit back hard, blaming the media for years of fueling anti-Trump hate.
That environment wasn't just created by Donald Trump.
Okay, but can I say, you can't blame, and everyone wants your dad to be safe. No one wants the threats against his life to happen, but you can't blame the media for those threats. There's been no evidence that's what drove those.
And allows people to have a platform to call someone literally Hitler every day for 9 years, it creates it.
Okay.
Whether you want to believe it or not, that's a fact.
But as you know, J.D. Vance once likened your dad to Hitler as well. He questioned if he was America's Hitler.
But here's where things took an even crazier turn. Bill Maher, who by the way voted for Biden, was watching all of this unfold. And he had to say something. He called out the blatant bias. He pointed out how the media buried the Hunter Biden laptop story before the election just to protect Biden. Maher didn't even try to sugarcoat it.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
Brutal. At this point, CNN was in full damage control mode. They brought on Collins to defend themselves, but Maher wasn't letting up. He challenged CNN's claim that they're neutral. The response? More deflection. Collins even tried playing the hometown card. I'm from Alabama. My family is conservative. I know both sides. Nice try. But Maher wasn't buying it. Having conservative relatives doesn't mean you're unbiased. CNN's reporting speaks for itself. The double standards, the spin, the one-sided coverage. It's obvious. And just when things couldn't get worse for Collins, Megyn Kelly jumped in. And oh, did she obliterate her? Kelly didn't just call out the bias, she called out Collins herself. She's not just biased, she's boring. She has zero personality. Ouch. Kelly's advice? Try smiling once in a while. And honestly, she's not wrong. Collins walks around with the same smug expression all the time, acting like she's above it all. Maybe if she wasn't so robotic, someone might actually connect with her. But here's the reality. Maher, Kelly, and even lifelong liberals see through the act. CNN isn't fooling anyone anymore. They're not in the business of news. They're in the business of narrative control. And Maher? He's done pretending otherwise. His final words? When you're in a hole, stop digging. CNN? They won't listen. They'll never stop digging. But America? They've stopped listening. And that is why CNN is losing the trust of the people. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more no-nonsense coverage. Let's keep exposing the hypocrisy together. But CNN's hypocrisy doesn't stop there. Oh no, because when it comes to covering their own side, the rules suddenly change. Take Hunter Biden, for example. The man's laptop contained damning evidence, corruption, influence peddling, shady foreign deals, the whole mess. And what did CNN do? They buried it. Bill Maher didn't even hesitate to call them out.
There was what you'd have to call some sort of media suppression of Hunter Biden's computer right before the election.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. Okay,
and the truth is, I still don't know what I think about that. And sometimes,
right.
But I mean, to actually parse everything in there and figure out just how dirty Biden Sr. is as a result of the information there.
Can I go to step two? But nothing really. It was common. So it was the kind of sort of everyday graft that's sleazy, but doesn't affect the world. Probably.
Yes.
Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money. But Joe Biden himself would not give away our nuclear secrets to the Chinese. He's not, he has a soft spot for his son, his ne'er-do-well, stupid son.
I mean, you've heard his voicemails to his Hunter. Yeah,
so, like, Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Could you just meet with the Chinese guy next week? It would mean a lot to me. Like, and Joe would do it. And then and then Hunter would get the money for the meeting.
Even he admitted it. The media intentionally ignored the story because they knew it could hurt Biden's chances against Trump. And that's not even speculation. It's a fact. But of course, CNN and their allies refused to acknowledge it. Think about it. If Don Jr. had even 1/10 of Hunter's baggage, CNN would have wall-to-wall coverage for weeks. Every little detail would be spun into a massive scandal. But when it's Hunter, suddenly it's no big deal. Suddenly it's just a personal struggle. Are you kidding me? And Maher? He snapped over this hypocrisy. He knew the media wasn't just biased. They were actively running interference for the Bidens. It wasn't journalism. It was propaganda. And let's not forget what's actually on that laptop. The messages, the emails. Hunter wasn't just some lost soul making bad decisions. He was selling access to his father, arranging meetings, and raking in millions. Maher didn't hold back. Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money, that's the truth. He even mocked the situation, saying, "Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Can you meet with this Chinese guy next week?" And Joe would do it. Then Hunter would get paid. That's how deep the corruption went. And CNN, silent. If this were Don Jr., they'd be screaming for investigations, impeachment, everything. But when it's Hunter, suddenly it's just bad judgment. It's a total joke. And it's exactly why even left-leaning figures like Maher are finally calling this nonsense out. They can't pretend anymore. The media has been playing favorites for years, and now their credibility is completely destroyed. And that's why Maher took things even further. His next target? CNN's ridiculous handling of the Trump-Biden election coverage. During his interview with Collins, Maher went straight for the jugular. He laughed at the idea that CNN is objective and asked her point blank, "How do you think CNN is doing when it comes to balance?" Collins' answer? She actually tried to defend CNN. She even pulled the "I'm from Alabama" card, like that somehow proves her neutrality. Nice try. Her excuse?
I'm from Alabama. I'm from a very red state. I have a very conservative family, a lot of them who are Trump voters. They watch my show every night, and I think they know that they can trust me, that, you know, we call bullshit on every side, not just whatever leaning our audience may be, and I think that's something that people actually want more of.
And that means what exactly? Having conservative relatives doesn't erase CNN's blatant bias. It doesn't undo years of one-sided reporting. And honestly, her family probably just tunes in out of obligation. The same way parents sit through a kid's off-key school recital, supporting her because they have to. That doesn't mean they believe what she's selling. And Maher? He wasn't buying it either. Because let's be real, if CNN was actually balanced, Collins wouldn't have to use her family as a credibility shield. The facts speak for themselves. And Megyn Kelly? She jumped in and roasted Collins even harder.
I'm sorry, but she's only a star with leftists. And the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is. It's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer.
Ouch, that was brutal. And honestly, spot on. Kelly even gave Collins a pro tip. Try smiling once in a while. And she's right. Collins walks around with the same smug expression all the time, acting like she's the smartest person in the room. But people don't connect with that. They want energy. They want authenticity. And Collins, she's got none of it. That's why Maher, Kelly, and even longtime liberals are calling her out. They see through the act. They know CNN is a propaganda machine, and Collins is just another cog in the wheel. And let's not forget what Ben Shapiro had to say. He torched CNN's credibility, pointing out that even leftist audiences know the network is a joke. During a Late Show segment, Stephen Colbert actually tried to say CNN is neutral. And guess what? The audience laughed. Think about that. Even Colbert's audience, who are overwhelmingly left-wing, don't believe CNN is neutral. That tells you everything. CNN isn't fooling anyone anymore. Their audience expects bias. They want it. They don't tune in for fair reporting. They tune in to hear what they already believe repeated back to them. That's why Bill Maher and Ben Shapiro are on the same page here. When even lifelong liberals are rolling their eyes at CNN, you know the network has lost control of the narrative. And then came the final knockout. After all this chaos, Collins turned her attention to Caroline Leavitt, CNN's latest target. Collins attacked Leavitt for restricting White House access to certain journalists. But here's the kicker. Karine Jean-Pierre had way more restrictions during the Biden administration. And yet, when she limited access, the media barely cared. But when a Republican does it, suddenly it's an attack on democracy. Give me a break. The media doesn't want access. They want control. And when they don't get it, they throw a tantrum. That's why Bill Maher had to say something. And his final words?
Stephen Colbert had on Kaitlan Collins from CNN, obviously talking about how terrible Trump is and what a terrible job he's doing and how Kamala Harris has all the momentum and all of that sort of thing. But that's not the interesting part of the clip. The interesting part of the clip is that Stephen Colbert says, in perfect seriousness, with a straight face, that the legacy media are objective. That CNN is objective, and listen to the reaction of the crowd. Again, this is a crowd who opts into viewing The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which means that they are all on the left.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a... I know
Was that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
Okay, that is an incredible admission, number one, by Stephen Colbert.
If you agree, hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe for more hard-hitting breakdowns. Let's keep exposing the hypocrisy together. The final blow, CNN's meltdown, over their own failures. At this point, CNN is in full panic mode. Their credibility, gone. Their audience, leaving. Their narratives, falling apart. And what do? Blame everyone else. They claim it's Trump's fault. They claim it's misinformation. They claim their own viewers are the problem. But here's the truth. CNN's collapse is their own doing. They spent years pushing a one-sided agenda, and now even liberals like Bill Maher are done playing along. Even former CNN insiders are speaking out. A recent bombshell report exposed internal chaos at CNN, with staffers admitting that their obsession with taking down Trump has destroyed their reputation. One former employee straight up confessed, "We stopped being a news network. We became an anti-Trump operation." Wow. So they knew what they were doing. They knew they had abandoned real journalism, and they did it anyway. And what's worse, they still haven't learned, even after getting roasted by Maher, Kelly, and Shapiro, even after their own audience turned on them, even after losing millions of viewers. CNN still refuses to change. Kaitlan Collins, the face of CNN's desperation. And let's talk about Kaitlan Collins. Because if there's one person who represents everything wrong with CNN, it's her. She's supposed to be a journalist, but she acts like a political hit woman. Instead of reporting the facts, she plays gotcha games. Instead of being fair, she pushes narratives. Instead of holding both sides accountable, she protects Democrats and attacks Republicans. But the worst part? She actually believes she's unbiased. It's delusion at its finest. And Bill Maher saw right through it. That's why he exposed her for the fraud that she is. The media's biggest fear: losing control. Here's the real reason CNN is spiraling out of control. They've lost something far more valuable than ratings. They've lost control of the narrative. For years, they got away with manipulating public opinion. They decided who was the villain, who was the hero, what stories mattered, and what got buried. But now, people aren't blind anymore. They see the hypocrisy. They see the double standards. They see how the media protects Democrats and smears Republicans. And the worst part for CNN, they can't undo it. The Trump effect. Why the media's attacks keep backfiring. Think about this. Every single time the media attacks Trump, his support grows. They called him a racist. His support among minorities grew. They called him a dictator. More Americans saw through the lies. They launched endless investigations. People realized it was political theater.
And it's not just the Democrat Party. The mainstream media still doesn't get it. Last night, MSNBC's Nicole Wallace disgustingly looped in a 13-year-old boy with brain cancer into an attack on the president over January 6th. And CNN's first chyron out of the speech called it divisive. President Trump wasn't divisive. The Democrats were. And CNN was proven wrong by their own viewers, 69% of whom, in a post-speech poll, said they had a positive reaction to the president's speech. It's sad and frankly pathetic that Democrats and liberals in the legacy media continue to allow their hatred for the president to override their love for our country. But nevertheless, the president will continue to unify this nation through policies that are grounded in common sense and that uplift all Americans.
And now, after years of smears, after every scandal they've tried to create, Trump is more popular than ever. That's why the media is panicking. They threw everything at him, and he's still standing, and it's driving them insane. Why CNN's collapse is just the beginning. Here's the hard truth for CNN and the rest of the woke media. They're not just losing viewers, they're losing trust. And once trust is gone, it's over. No one believes them anymore. No one takes them seriously. No one is falling for their fake neutrality or their manufactured scandals. People are waking up. They're turning to independent media. They're finding real voices who aren't controlled by corporate interests. They're rejecting the mainstream narrative. And CNN can't stand it. And that's why they're melting down. Final words from Bill Maher. Maher's message to CNN? Stop digging. But let's be honest, they won't. CNN will keep pushing propaganda. They'll keep trying to take down Trump. They'll keep pretending to be neutral. And guess what? America is done listening. If you agree, hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe for more uncensored, no-nonsense breakdowns. Let's keep exposing the hypocrisy together on Fire.